We'll get to the news now, beginning with the latest on the war in Iran. Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian has signed an agreement with the United States.
He signed that yesterday. The 800-word 14-point plan is aimed at expanding the ceasefire and resuming the flow of traffic through the Strait of Hormuz. The agreement also states that Tehran will not procure or develop nuclear weapons and commits the U.S. and regional partners to developing a $300 billion reconstruction fund for Iran that will be implemented in the next phase of negotiations. President Donald Trump also signed a copy of the U.S.-Iran agreement at the Palace of Versailles in France. The U.S. then sent a photograph of the signed document to the Iranians, according to a U.S. official who spoke to CNN. Pakistan, which has played a mediation role throughout the conflict, said the agreement will come into immediate effect.
All right, other news we're following as expected.
The Gilgo Beach serial killer is going to prison for the rest of his life for killing 8 women on Long Island, New York. Rex Heuermann was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole yesterday. During the sentencing hearing, 13 family members of the victims made statements, among them Liliana Waterman. Liliana was just 3 years old when her mother, Megan Waterman, from Scarborough, Maine, was killed by Heuermann. In the courtroom, she spoke about the impact the case has had on her.
For so many years, this case has been a weight I carried every single day, a burden of unanswered questions, grief, and a sense that justice has not been served. Constantly having to look over my shoulder, making sure nobody was following me or trying to see where I was heading to. Today's proceedings do not erase what happened, and they do not bring her back. Nothing ever will. But today brings accountability.
Heuermann also spoke, saying he is responsible for everything and he is sorry for the killings. State election officials are working to finalize ranked choice voting tabulations today before the federal holiday tomorrow.
But the workers counting the votes still have a hill to climb. News Center Maine's Christian Harsa has been watching the process and brings us the latest.
The Secretary of State's office has had to balance reality with optimism, announcing on Wednesday that they're not going to be able to release the details of the results quite just yet. It's going to have to take at least one day more. The workers have been focusing on the reconciliation stage. That is when the officials go through town by town to make sure that the numbers from election night match what they have here in Augusta. After that, they have another round of checking. This process is slow and tedious, and that is by design, says Chief Deputy Secretary of State Kate McBrien.
We want to make sure everything is there. So it's a time-consuming process. It's a meticulous process, but it's really important that everything is right so that when we hit go and we run that tabulation and we actually run the race and we know who the winner is, we can all be confident that it's accurate and it's the correct results.
The final step of the process is called proofing, and that's making sure that the reconciliation numbers match the numbers that they have in the computers that are going to run the tabulations. Workers are going to return here on Thursday at 9 a.m. to keep working. In Augusta, Christian Harsa, News Center Maine.
Now, one Mainer in particular with an interest in the winners of the Democrat and Republican gubernatorial primaries is Rick Bennett.
He's already qualified for the November gubernatorial ballot as an independent, and he's not waiting to find out who his opponents will be. Our Phil Hirschkorn caught up with Bennett last night on the campaign trail.
Maine needs a different kind of leadership, a leadership that focuses on results.
On a pleasant summer evening in a bucolic backyard in Portland, Rick Bennett is making the case for a governor, not beholden to either major political party.
The problem is that for the last generation, politicians have put their parties ahead of the people. Winning the next election has become more important than solving the next problem.
12 years a state senator and a former GOP chairman, Bennett quit the Republican Party last year, shortly before launching this campaign.
The system actually thrives on conflict, not resolution. And the issues that matter most, housing, childcare, our economy, our schools, get lost in the noise.
Bennett says half of Maine families are having a hard time paying for the basics.
Buying a home, health care that's accessible, taxes that are reasonable, a job that supports a family.
He has already unveiled detailed plans to improve health care coverage, make child care more affordable, lower energy costs, and boost the housing supply while helping first-time home buyers with their down payments and mortgage.
You can ask the state to pick up a portion of that monthly payment in exchange for, when the house is sold, for a piece of that equity back.
Though Senator Bennett was a leading Maine Republican for 2 decades, he now espouses setting aside partisan politics as usual and valuing integrity over ideology. If we don't, Bennett warns, Maine can become as hyper-partisan and dysfunctional as Washington. In Portland, Phil Hirschkorn for News Center Maine.